This is Oscar Bevis for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrating, available on DAZN. My man Jamie Conlan joins me. What a pleasure it is to sit down with you, I think, for the first time for the Stomping Ground. How's life, my friend?
It's good. It's good. Mad week, with this in the middle of it. I'm getting married at the weekend, so coming to London wasn't in the schedule, but here we are.
You're getting married at the weekend?
Aye.
And you're here doing work?
Yeah. Harlem Eubank.
What's the missus' thoughts on that?
As long as I'm home tonight,
Yeah.
not taking a piss and staying over or gone out or anything like that, I'm alright, but yeah, all good.
So we're going to have to write off that beer that we was having afterwards.
Yeah. Chelsea Supporters Club, is that where it is? No.
This is Honesty Corner as well, so I'm going to ask you how Ibiza went with Lee and the boys.
You're sworn in secrecy once you return from Ibiza, you know. I know Lee's probably been leaking videos from the group chat, which
He's a bit like a CCTV camera.
he is, but he was in top-notch form in Ibiza, if I'm honest, and it was the maddest weekend I've ever had. 4 days, wherever we were. It was brilliant. Great bunch of lads. Everyone gelled well together, and yeah, great send-off.
I know the Conlans have got, I'm not going to say an affinity with Ibiza, but I feel like there's always a Conlan in Ibiza.
No, Miguel's been there for the past few years now, and is building something, and obviously his beer is over there, and he's been there all summer. I think he was with Darren Till and stuff at the weekend, and Brendan Locklane, and yeah, he loves Ibiza. So when we had said about going on a stag, Ibiza was prime suspect to kind of hit the nod, and when we all went, yeah, he knew all the places to go. We all just followed. It was unreal. Like.
Yeah, mate, I can vouch for Ibiza, the best place in the world, for me at least. Anyway, right, Harlem Eubank, multi-fight deal, and you're kind of advising, overseeing the career and the trajectory. But it's not new. This is something that's been going on in the background for a while now, but I guess now to be made a little bit more public.
Yeah, Wasserman kind of wanted this to come out a bit more public and whatever, but in the background for a long while. Harlem has always been very close. Him and Michael got very close. Him, Abbas and Michael have a very strong friendship. So every fight week we had with Michael, Harlem and Abbas were always there. We're always key. We're always vital roles in the team. So we got to become really close and got to understand each other, got to see him up close and personal, both inside the ring training, but outside the ring as a human being, and became very fond of him. Like, really enjoy his company. And as things come on, you're just naturally talking boxing, and you understand and speaking about different things, and then before you realise, you're talking more and more boxing, and you're projecting different things, and you're listening to problems, and you're trying to solve problems, and recently enough, he then had found himself like needing a wee bit of helping hand, and they invited me into the team, and I became part of the team, and team with Schwarzkopf happened, and I was a pick on that, and they asked me to come kind of more of a front role as well, and carrying the whole flag from the management side of things. So it's an honour and a privilege, because as talent sense in the ring is something I truly believe in, and I've seen the development from the early days with Adam and Charlie to where he is now, and can vouch that this man is as hardworking and dedicated as anyone I've ever been around, but his trajectory on his career is going to cancer upward. But it's him outside the ring. You're more. I'm more impressed with. You like being around him. I think he's a credit to him and his family. How he carries himself. How he handles himself outside. But also he's a bit kooky and quacky, and he's a fucking vegan, which I was open to for the first time. But
You're telling me Harlem Eubank is trying to turn Jamie Conlan vegan?
But he's also trying to convince me the world is flat. He told me about P. Diddy before anyone even knew about P. Diddy. He's brought me down rabbit holes, man, that no one else could bring me. Late nights in New York, walking the streets of New York, listening to Harlem Eubank preach. I've heard the world is going long before we are now. But he's a great guy to be around. But watching him develop also in the ring is something that kind of been very impressive for the past few years.
Yeah, I feel like I need another interview now. I know that he's one of these conspiracy theorist, flat earth types.
There's no conspiracy in Harlem Eubank. He is adamant on how he sees the world, and that's the world. And he will argue blue in the face till people understand him. So I don't push back anymore. I just sit back and listen, and hopefully when there's an outsider come in, I open the conversation and let unfold and let someone else get what Harlem's got under the hood.
I love that. It's either Harlem's way or no way.
Yeah.
Why is now the right time? I know you said Wasserman, it was not their idea, but they wanted to make things public. Why is now the right time for that? Do you like it when you're kind of working behind the scenes and no one is kind of directly going, oh, Jamie,
Yeah.
this about Harlem, that about Harlem? Do you prefer that?
No, I like it, and I like kind of discussing things, but also it doesn't bother me being at the front as well. But it's because I'd set up the meeting with Wasserman when Harlem came, and he basically says, I want to see what the open market looks like. Just go and see what you can get and see what you think. And immediately came and spoke to Nissa and Max and Damien at Wasserman and thought, this is the right fit. I was with them when the team was Schwarzkopf, the last kind of fit he had with them, and seeing there was really something that can be built, especially in Brighton, something that can be built there. And the development and the career trajectory, the career that they had pitched out, their timeline of how they wanted things to unveil, it really worked in what I was thinking in my thought process of how to build Harlem. So it was a good synergy there, and I thought, yeah, now's the time. They coincided and said, now's the time to kind of you being the face of things also on this side.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed Brighton, and it doesn't feel like November or December last year. Obviously, we would have loved to have seen Harlem in the ring since. Went face to face with Adam Azim at what he told me was quite short notice on a Fraser Clark Fabio Wardley card that done massive numbers on Sky, and then things just went a little bit quiet. I know now he's telling me that he's going to be at 147, but there'll be opportunities at 140 he's open to as well. Are we drawing a line under Adam Azim?
For the current time being, yeah. When we sat down as a team and we all kind of pitched our ideas of what the thought process should be, the main thing I wanted to get across is let's focus on Harlem Eubank. Let's not focus on attaching him to Adam Azim, attaching him to Conor Benn, attaching him to Dalton Smith. Let's focus on Harlem Eubank and let's try and build Harlem Eubank into the best version of Harlem Eubank can be. Having them dance partners is always a good thing to have, and I think the Azim fight could only get bigger from this. It was unfortunate. It's been a very frustrating year, both mentally and physically for Harlem, because he's dragged himself to get to the peak of his physical powers and then has to kind of come down again and back up. So he's been up and down. Although he's not fought this year, he's had many different camps for fights that have been muted. And it was unfortunate because the sparring that we had in place for Adam the first time before he got the injury, everything was on track to be, I think, a massive upset for Harlem Eubank. I think he was really going to shock the world, but it was something he took on a whim. It was something that there was not much discussing about. It was something that we kind of just jumped into, and we were swimming before we knew that what we were in the deep of, how deep we were in. And from that moment on, it's kind of just been swimming uphill. But now we've all stepped back and said, right, let's have a new look, and let's try and change how we should be focusing on Harlem.
Yeah. So you mentioned about you don't want to attach Harlem to a certain fighter. Is it easy to do that? Because if I look at another Eubank, Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, they've been basically attached to each other for 2 years, and I guess that's hindered. I mean, there are other reasons, but I guess that's hindered both of their careers as such, with the fight not happening. But when you attach yourself to a name, like you said, it's only ever a fight that people want to see, like Harlem Eubank and Adam Azim is a wicked fight and a big fight. So just talk to me about kind of the danger of just attaching yourself too much to one name and how that can hinder you.
It can hinder you because you just start getting attached.
You think the fighter gets too focused as well?
And that was kind of what we were running into there with Harlem. We started to just solely focus on Adam Azim, and you're trying to get sparring dictated to it. You're trying to get your style is to try and beat that style. You have to adapt to that style and kind of get off the focus and focusing on yourself and being better at what you're doing. But mentally, I'm fit, because you're just constantly looking to see what that other person is doing, how he's living his life.
Even like checking Instagram and
checking Instagram stuff. It's natural as a person. It is natural to start to do things like that. So he was coming to be saddened, say, with the fight against Adam Azim, but it's also a good thing, because as you said, it's how you get public attention. The public will buy into a fight between two. You do need to have that nemesis or dance partner to kind of be the good guy and the bad guy, and you need to kind of sell it to grow your own brand. So it needs to be there, and it's always good to have. He has a wide variety, which is good. Being a Eubank opens up many doors because of that. Being a Eubank sets a bit of a target on your back, which he's had since day one. So he doesn't overly need to be targeting someone else, because the target will come and people will come. And I think Adam will need Harlem more than Harlem will need Adam. So it's just about kind of refocusing, rebuilding, testing the water at 147 should be the next move. I think then looking at British titles, trying to build something in Brighton. I think Brighton could really be a hub of boxing, which we experienced when he fought Timo Schwarzkopf. And it's just about giving it an opportunity to grow and start a conveyor belt of talent that is down there. Because there is some good fighters in Brighton that can really benefit from Harlem bringing big nights there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm a fan of Harlem Eubank versus Adam Azim, but if we draw a line under it, and you mentioned the Eubank name opening doors, there's one logical name for me to chuck at you now in Conor Benn. I know right now in the UK, Conor Benn cannot fight, but there's no way that in meeting rooms, boardrooms or whatever, you and Harlem have not got quite excited about the potential of him and Conor Benn.
Especially now he's at 147, that Harlem's moved up to he's entered his domains, let's say.
Is it the biggest fight for Harlem at 147?
So.
It's got to be,
so. It's got to be. The legacy in the two names being attached, the legacy then with Chris Jr., even that side of things, how that portrayed, how that fell apart, the knock-on effect, the lasting effects from that. And, it's logical to think, how can Conor Benn get the Chris Eubank Jr.? Try and come through Harlem Eubank. Attach another family member, beat Harlem to get the Chris. I know Harlem probably doesn't have the same commercial standpoint and value that Chris has. However, one or two fights he could potentially be there. One or two fights to him, Conor could be looking to fight back in the UK again, which could be perfect in terms of timing ways. Harlem does need to prove his worth and prove that he deserves to be with the big boys, which I think he will, and he'll handle that side of things. But timing could work out perfectly, and the way for Conor to get the Chris could be through Harlem. And I'm very confident in Harlem Eubank beating Conor Benn. Like Ara wouldn't mention it.
Man, I'm desperate for a Benn and Eubank to just fight. I feel like it's consumed the boxing media for a couple of years now. Talking about Eubank, another one I want to talk about is Senior. Now, he was quite front and centre in Brighton, obviously pushing the fact that he knows Harlem is a really, really strong talent. But speaking to Harlem in there, he said that he's going to take more of a role off the camera. Not that he's not involved. I guess with family ties, he'll always be involved as such, but you're not going to see Chris too much in front of the lens when it comes to Harlem, at least for the current moment.
Yeah, and that's why Harlem is kind of asked
Is that a decision that you kind of left to Harlem and Chris to sort out?
Yeah, it's all. And then that's why he said you come in more of a like the front of house and handling all this side of things, which we were doing anyway in the background. But that's kind of where we've filled the void there as well. But yeah, it's Harlem and Chris Seniors.
So you're going to have to fill the void stylistically as well, so we can get a monocle. Jamie Conlan in a three-piece.
I don't speak from the same mother's tongue. Our mothers are two different mothers, so our tongue is completely different. But I don't think I can carry that flag. No, I definitely can't. That's a unique, unbelievable selling point, and what he does is special.
Yeah. So just finally on Harlem before, there's a couple of other things I want to talk about, and it kind of links in. I guess Riyadh season is, I guess, pinpoint for where boxers want to be at the moment. The financial investment is huge. The eyeballs is huge. Junior at the moment is fighting on the next Riyadh season bill. The next one in Riyadh. Is there a little bit in the back of your mind where you're thinking you'd love to get Harlem some big fights on or involved with Riyadh season?
Yeah, I think that's where Harlem and Benn could work in. Get Harlem back some stage this year, and then hopefully a British title fight in Brighton. Build commercial value, grow as a fighter, have a wee bit of backing to come into, test the weight obviously, and test it against one of the best in Britain, and then have a look. That's where our combined pitch should be to Turkey Al Sheikh and see if they can't get Conor and Chris. Conor and Harlem is the fight to make.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on the way Riyadh season and Turkey Al Sheikh have gone about their 12 months in boxing?
It's reinvented how we look at boxing now. It's unbelievable. I think he's potentially saved us from a very, very dark, bleak understanding place. But he has opened so many doors. He has crossed many divides. He has made boxing a one sport. So everyone, it just feels like there is no more streets. We're all on the same street. Every fight is an option. Every fight is doable. Every situation seems like there could be an end route to it, and he has came at the right time. The time where boxing was fragmented, he's brought it together, and it's brilliant to see, because now you can use your best imagination and think of a fight, and it can happen. It's brilliant.
Nothing is out the realms of possibility, is it?
Nothing is, and it's
Canelo Crawford. I would never have even thought about the possibility of that 18 months ago.
It's unreal. And even Crawford Spence, you would think that's going to be something that's going to be dragged. You know, that's around the corner. Everything that's happening. AJ Fury, was it ever going to happen? It's going to happen. It seems like now with them, with Turki Al Sheikh on board, and them to align themselves with him. And it's brilliant. It's brilliant for everyone. It's brilliant for the boxers. It's brilliant from the managers. It's brilliant from the trainers. It's brilliant for the United public. As you're seeing, that he's lowered down the pay-per-view costs and put it as a set fee. Everyone's a winner, it seems, and it is more, not a monopoly, but similar to UFC, where there is no more divides. There's no more hiding. There's no more, and when I say hiding, you wouldn't want to hide, because you're going to get your best career payday, and everyone's going to earn, and everyone's going to eat. You're going to get opportunities that, like, I wish it was 10 years ago when I was fighting myself.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Are you looking and going, oh, Mum, could you have given birth to me just a little bit later?
Yeah, like, unbelievable. And if I was 6'2" and 147 or 154, it would have been a lot better as well, instead of being 5'7".
That's exactly how I feel, not just because
Turki
Al Sheikh's involved.
Yeah. If Turki Al Sheikh could help me out, it would be all right. If he can make me 6'2" and a bit bigger. But yes, it's fantastic, and we're getting to see fights, and fighters get opportunities that they could never have dreamed of. And speaking from a personal perspective, a local guy from my own old area in Anthony Kakachi, career was bleak. It was like I'd met him 3 or 4 times for coffees, and he was retiring, and he was done, and he was this and that, and he was walking away from the sport. His career was on shit street. No one was really giving him a chance until Turki Al Sheikh came along, and it's revamped him. He's a different man now. You meet Anthony Kakachi compared to the Anthony I knew 2 or 3 years ago. It's 2 different people. He is able to provide for his family. He's able, like, Harry sees the world is completely different, all down to the opportunities he's got from Riyadh season, and he's just grabbing it with both hands. And now him and Josh Warrington is another fascinating fight. A fight. When you spoke to Anto, even weeks before a fight, a week out before a fight, prior to Joe Cardina, he would even be depressed then, because it was just, he had no vision, no nothing in the sport. But now he's been given these opportunities. It's like, it's unbelievable to see. A man's whole life has been changed.
Yeah, I can't believe that you said there was multiple times where he was considering
he was retired.
retirement, a fighter of that talent.
He was retired. I remember having a coffee with him one time.
So think how many fighters we've lost in the past prior.
Yeah, you would have.
Who could have gone on to win world titles and provided for their families financially, that we've lost because the opportunities weren't there.
Fury Chisora at Wembley. Ando's fight got pulled off on the week. He was actually in at Wembley.
I remember, was it when he was down to fight?
He was a Colombian or South American guy. He was initially due to fight, and then I think they offered Ryan Garner on the last day or something.
Ryan Garner or Yusuf Kamari, I remember hearing.
On the last kind of few days.
So you can actually understand from that sense why he was probably thinking, do you know what, this sport, fuck it, I'm done.
Yeah, he was done, completely done. And I think Frank kind of kept him on side and just said, look, big fight will come, and the opportunity came against Joe Cardina. And even then, like, that was delayed. And going into it, I don't think he was overly infused. But nah, he's a complete different man. Harry, he just looks like he's glowing. He looks like a pregnant lady, but a lot skinnier. But it's unreal.
Yeah. And I can't wait for that Josh Warrington fight. That is a war all over.
Like, there you go. It's fights that
Be watching from behind my hand.
It's fascinating, you know, like they're all. It's a pick and fight. You don't really know how it goes. You know, it's brilliant to see. Brilliant to see.
Well, there's a lot of pick and fights on that card, but I've got to talk to you about the main event. Where do you stand on Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois?
So initially I thought it was going to be complete whitewash and AJ is going to walk all over him. But Dubois has grown on me recently. I think he's handled adversity really well. Frank has really cracked the whip. He is came out of his shell. He's a complete different man than he was a good few years ago, prior to Joe Joyce. But he is, like, even before Usyk, Harry was kind of talking and whatever. Harry handled the Usyk defeat. Harry's bounced back. I think he's a live dog, but I think we've also seen a different side to AJ. We've seen a bit more of a bit of a street AJ and a bit of a dog fight than AJ, and I'm excited for it. I do think it'll be a fantastic, fascinating blowout, but I think it'll be lively while it happens. I do think 3 or 4 rounds, 5 rounds max, AJ gets him out, but I don't think it comes without any controversy and maybe getting hurt or wobbled himself. But I think we're in for a fascinating but early night.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think a fascinating but potentially short evening at Wembley Stadium. Appreciate your time, Jamie. Just one more thing.
Go on, Oz.
For you, your stable, and what's going on, what do the next couple of months entail? Some big news, fight news coming?
Yeah, we've got a show in Belfast coming up in November in the SSE Arena. Paddy McCrory will be coming back from losing to Berlanga. 1 or 2 good 50-50 fights there, and just trying to keep the conveyor belt of talent in Ireland rolling. We're going to go back to back there in Ireland, Belfast and then Waterford down south, and just kind of keep things moving there, because Irish boxing is on the verge of something unique and something special. There's more and more kids turn professional, and they just need avenues to kind of showcase their talent. So Friday the 1st November, we'll announce it this week, but Friday the 1st November will be our next show in Belfast.